Here are the 5 worst mistakes you can make when you have a tinnitus spike. I'm going to explain why it is a mistake and also what I recommend you to do instead to calm your tinnitus down again as quickly as possible. Now, before we start, I suggest to pause the video and get a piece of paper and write down these mistakes and then stick it on your desk so you actually do something with my advice. So if you're ready, then let's go. Tinnitus spike mistake number 1. Canceling plans and giving tinnitus control over your life. Now, if you have a tinnitus spike and wake up with loud tinnitus, the tendency is to adjust your day to the situation, right? So you cancel the lunch with your friend, you stay in bed, you eat junk food instead of cooking, or maybe you had plans to work out, to go bike riding, or to go to a bar with your friends. Now, my advice is actually to do the opposite. Do not change your plans. And I'll explain why. See, tinnitus is keeping you in fight or flight mode, meaning the primal part of your brain sees the tinnitus sound as a threat. So it basically says, warning, dangerous sound. And if you let tinnitus ruin your day, you are basically telling your primal brain, see, this sound is indeed so dangerous that I completely adjust my life to it. Tinnitus is in charge. And that reinforces your primal brain's fear for tinnitus. And that's not what we want, because we want to train your brain that you can live your life whether your tinnitus is loud or quiet. So what do you do instead? Well, you basically say to yourself, F you tinnitus, you're not going to ruin my day. You're gonna get out of bed, don't sulk, and just do everything that you were looking forward to. And this will train your brain that even with loud tinnitus, you can have a nice day after all. Now, a bonus tip from me is that you can just add in some nice relaxing things today if you have a tinnitus spike. Take a nice bath, get a massage, take a walk outside, eat something tasty, and cancel that work meeting that you really didn't want to go to anyway. Be kind to yourself today and don't worry, it will get better. Which brings us to tinnitus spike mistake number 2. Starting to worry all over again. Now, assuming you have tinnitus for a while already, you probably recognize these thoughts when tinnitus spikes. Oh no, is it getting worse again? Will it stay this way or get even louder? What did I do this time to make it spike? And say your tinnitus spikes right after a concert, the day after a concert. Then you might think, shit, I have to stop going to concerts. And before you know it, you're not even listening to music at home anymore because you're afraid that your tinnitus will spike again. You will fall back into massive worry, and that's a bad habit because your worry and anxiety and stress are making your tinnitus worse. So if you recognize this behavior, then let me know in the comments below, pause the video, and tell me what you stopped doing due to tinnitus, and maybe I can help you with that. Now, did you know that it's usually not the activity itself, but the fear of tinnitus getting worse that makes your tinnitus worse? And think about it, because fear and stress fuel the vicious tinnitus cycle. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. For example, I myself no longer get anxious feelings or stress when my tinnitus flares up. It doesn't affect me anymore. I do register it, but I don't start worrying again. Now, if you want to achieve the same relaxed state of mind as me, then click the link below this video to watch my free tinnitus masterclass where I explain my method in more detail and how I achieved the state that I am in currently. But before you do, please finish the video because we have 3 more bad tinnitus spike mistakes to go. So tinnitus spike mistake number 3 is overanalyzing causes for your tinnitus spike. And I want to explain this mistake by telling you a story. One of the students in my online tinnitus relief course told me she was keeping a list of things she couldn't do anymore due to tinnitus. And I asked her, could you show me that list? Yeah, sure, she said. Do you also want to see my tinnitus journal as well? I was like, journal? Yeah, journal. Every day, she said, I rate my tinnitus from a 1 to a 10 and write down everything I did that day. Then when I have a spike the next day, I search my journal for possible causes. For example, I had a spike a few times the next day after going to dinner, so I don't go to dinner anymore. And so she was basically limiting her entire life because of overanalyzing her spikes. Now, and you might think, oh, that's really weird. You must have been surprised. But I wasn't surprised, because when I first got tinnitus, I did exactly the same. I was convinced that if I kept track of everything I did, what I ate and what I drank the day before, then I would be able to find the root cause of my tinnitus and get rid of the ringing in my ears. Now, I discovered this goes way too far and doesn't help you. And what I suggest you do instead is the following. Don't overanalyze every tinnitus spike. Rather accept that tinnitus simply comes with ups and downs. It really goes like this. Because remember, before you had tinnitus, did you always wake up rested and optimistic? No, right? We all have bad days and good days with or without tinnitus. And it's the same with tinnitus. Now, second, if you have a tinnitus spike that lasts a few days in a row, then try to analyze more weekly or monthly patterns, not days. So don't just look at the day before, but look at the period before. So don't think, what did I do yesterday that I should stop doing today? But think, hey, am I taking good care of myself? Am I not working too hard, putting too much pressure on myself lately? If you followed my course, then ask yourself, did I actually take action on the things I wrote down in my stress tracker? Am I doing everything I wrote down on my first aid list? And am I still doing the tinnitus meditations, for example? Yeah, because we want to get you to a state where you stop continuously analyzing your tinnitus. You need to let go of the tendency to try to control your tinnitus day to day. And I rather recommend to you to focus on your long-term overall health and resilience. Now on to tinnitus spike number 4. Drinking alcohol to ease the pain. Now, don't worry, I'm not here to tell you that you should stop drinking if you have tinnitus. This is absolutely not necessary, so don't believe what they write on all these tinnitus forums out there. You can still drink alcohol when you have tinnitus. Yeah, of course, the latest science does indicate that even 1 glass of alcohol a day is not good for your health, but you can make your own decisions. I often drink alcohol, I go to bars and festivals, and I don't worry about alcohol influencing my tinnitus. So my point for bad tinnitus spike mistake number 4 is that some people drink a lot of alcohol by themselves at home to ease their negative emotions when tinnitus spike occurs. Because alcohol numbs your feelings and you feel like more relaxed and better when you drink. So what is the problem with that? Well, it does provide some quick relief, it seems, but it does really negatively impact your sleep. And sleep is the number 1 key to calming your tinnitus spike down ASAP. And you might think you sleep better with some alcohol, but this is absolutely not the case. It disturbs your deep sleep and your brain doesn't get to restore like it does without alcohol. So a glass of wine with dinner is fine, or with your friends, but I recommend against binge drinking to soothe the pain of a tinnitus spike. Tinnitus spike mistake number 5, blocking out sound. Well, I understand if you have a tinnitus spike that the tendency is to lie in bed with your earplugs in, your headphones on and your night mask on, because you're afraid that more sound will make your hearing worse and your tinnitus even worse. But that's not what we want. If you're serious about getting your spike down ASAP, I recommend using masking sounds during the night. If you've taken my course and you are already at the stage that you don't use masking anymore, then don't think, oh, I'm failing now because I'm resorting back to using masking sounds. Don't think like that, because I even use masking sounds at night sometimes when I have a tinnitus spike. Now, it is very important that you apply masking sounds the right way, because the type of sound, the volume of the sound, how long you play it, and on which device, these are all very important to get proper relief, otherwise sound masking at night doesn't work. Now, if you want to learn exactly how to apply masking correctly, then you should watch the video that pops up at the end of this video in a few seconds. And in there, I even give you a free app with masking sounds that you can use. Now, if you have any questions or want my help, you can click the link in my profile or leave a comment below this video, and don't forget to subscribe. I respond to all your questions. Good luck!